Toll free.
Marvin was dying in his brother's arms in the house he had bought for his parents. He had 2 bullet holes going through some of his favorite vital organs. It was difficult to speak, but he said his last words. I couldn't do it myself, so I made him do it. It's good. I ran my race. There's no more left in me. People usually don't get shot by their father with guns that they gave them. What's going on? Marvin Gaye was gay. There was no E in his name. And I'm not talking about Marvin Gaye, I'm talking about his dad, Marvin Gaye, who was also gay in the other way, but not really. Today we might call him queer. He liked to dress as a woman is what I'm trying to say. Which was also queer meaning weird, because you weren't really supposed to break gender norms when you were a church minister in the 40s. Aside from praising the Lord and serving Marvin Sr.'s other passions were cheating on his wife and beating his wife. Don't sell him short though, he also beat his children. He even had a favorite belt for it. He really was a generational hater. Marvin's father hated him before he was even born, and he didn't even accept him as his son. Marvin was very close with his mother, but his father hated that too, and would beat her for showing him any affection. As you'll soon learn, having a cartoon villain father had absolutely no negative effects on Marvin, and he had a very normal and well-adjusted life. He started singing in his father's church as young as 3, but for some reason he wasn't happy with his home life, and he dropped out of high school and joined the Air Force at 17. He thought flying a plane would be cool, but he hated authority and wouldn't follow orders, so he was dishonorably discharged. Back in DC, Marvin tried to start his music career. Notably, he was in the Marquis, which received recognition from Bo Diddley, which sounds like a made-up name, but based on 15 seconds of reading, it seems like this guy should be more famous than Elvis. It's just that he was black, so white people stole his ideas and got all the credit. And we need to go on a little bit of a Bo Diddley tangent. Everything's obviously derivative, and it's basically just a 3-2 clave pattern from Africa, but in 1955, Bo Diddley popularized this guitar rhythm.
This is the rhythm that shook the world.
And you probably haven't heard the song Bo Diddley, but you might have heard this song that came out 10 years later. Or the cover of that song that came out in 1986. Only to be covered again in the 2011 film Hop by Russell Brand. And if all that was nothing to you, I at least hope you know Faith by George Michael, which also uses the Bo Diddley rhythm. Basically, nothing that Marvin Gaye did mattered until he performed in front of Berry Gordy, the head of Motown Records. He started out as a studio musician, mainly playing drums. He played on Dancing in the Street and Mr. Postman. Being a studio musician was not paying very well, and Marvin dreamed of being a jazz vocalist like Sam Cooke and Nat King Cole. And could we just take a second to appreciate the fact that Nat King Cole is dead, but his daughter made a version of his song Unforgettable that's a duet between the two of them using his original vocal recording? That's very sweet. So Marvin hated his dad and was tired of being called gay, so he E-ified his name. He wrote and recorded a bunch of demos, and the musical pimp Berry Gordy saw potential in him. So he was given a single where he told a lover to leave him if she felt like it was the right thing to do. It did not perform well, but for some reason he got to do an album anyway. And again, nobody liked it because it wasn't very good. Nobody wanted to hear Marvin try his best to sound like his favorite moody jazz singers. So Motown Records pushed him to make more upbeat pop radio friendly R&B. This led to his first good song as a solo artist, Stubborn Kind of Fellow. The album that followed didn't do crazy numbers, but at the time it was more about singles than albums. As Marvin's career continued, he went back and forth between 2 modes. The first was making upbeat music for the radio and collaborating with women at Motown Records because that's what the label wanted and made money. The other was trying to fulfill his dream of being a serious, slow jazz singer. The dude on screen is Smokey Robinson because I couldn't even find any footage of Marvin Gaye performing trying to be the Black Frank Sinatra. Nobody wanted to hear it. His most noteworthy collaboration was with Tammy Terrell, who he made Ain't No Mountain High Enough and You're All I Need to Get By with. As the years went on, Marvin made enough pop radio hits that he got a lot of tries at his more serious music, until eventually he got so much practice that he was able to find a distinct voice in that lane and make those songs not only actually be good, but get radio play. There was also the civil rights movement going on around this time, and Marvin was inspired by leaders like MLK. He was also deeply impacted by the loss of his closest collaborator, Tammy Terrell, to a brain tumor. Marvin was also becoming a bit of a sex icon, which was conflicting to him since while he did enjoy making music with sexual themes, he was raised in a very religious fundamentalist household. Around this time, Marvin was getting a little too famous and began indulging in hookers and blow. Despite all this fame and success, Marvin was not doing well financially. For starters, he never had a good deal with Motown, and aside from cocaine and prostitutes being expensive, he was very good at wasting money. He once bought a fully spec'd out Benz only to leave it parked at the airport and forget about it. He also had alimony and child support bills for his multiple ex-wives. In 1981, Marvin was working on the album In Our Lifetime, only to flee the country to Europe to avoid taxes and alimony payments. Motown Records said, "We don't have time for this nonsense," and released the album unfinished without Marvin's consent. This led to him leaving Motown and signing to Columbia Records instead, who offered him a big cash advance to help get the IRS and his ex-wives off his back. This worked out great for Columbia because Marvin soon released one of his biggest hit songs, Sexual Healing, although not as well as they might have hoped because the album that song was on would be the last one Marvin made. Marvin's life seemed to be getting back on track, but soon into the tour for his new album, he was back to a self-destructive, hedonistic, drug and casual sex-filled lifestyle. God, that sounds good. He was also dealing with paranoia. He spent a fortune on bodyguards and always wore a bulletproof vest except for when performing. He also was convinced someone had hired a hitman to kill him. After the tour was over, Marvin moved to a house in LA he had bought for his parents and continued doing cocaine, despite constantly telling his mother he would quit and still being in deep financial trouble. Marvin's father was still abusing his mother, and on April 1st of 1984, Marvin Sr. was yelling at his wife over an insurance document that he blamed her for losing. Marvin stepped in to defend his mother as he often did, but this time it escalated to an all-out fist fight between Marvin and his father that ended with Marvin kicking his father on the ground. His mother called him off. The house was filled with firearms due to Marvin's paranoia, and without saying anything, Marvin Sr. went to his bedroom and got a pistol that Marvin gave him for protection. He shot Marvin once through the chest and again when he was on the ground. Marvin's brother came from the guest house and held Marvin in his final moments. Although this may seem like a senseless end to Marvin's life, many, including some of Marvin's family members, speculate that it was what Marvin intended. Aside from being a means for him to end his troubled life, the ultimate goal was to free Marvin's mother from the abusive relationship she felt religiously bound to continue. Although Marvin Sr. was not sentenced to prison time, which would have physically separated him from Marvin's mother, the shooting was enough for her to finally divorce her husband. Whether it was intentional or not, Marvin got what he wanted since he was a child, to save his mother from his father's cruelty. Now it's time for me to fuck up that nice fade out I was trying to do in honor of Marvin Gaye's legacy to tell you to like the video, subscribe, hit the bell icon, share the video, check out my other stuff, and have a great rest of your day.